Escalating concerns the Trump administration may interfere in November's midterms and delegitimize the results. Homeland Security Secretary Markwayne Mullin on Friday threatened states with losing federal grant funding and potential criminal charges if they refuse to use a controversial federal database to check voter rolls for non-citizens. Now, Democrats say the system is flawed, legally blocked, and could wrongly flag eligible voters.
There's no evidence, and I don't expect that we'll see any of that. And I also would remind people in Pennsylvania, out of 67 counties, vast majority of them are deep red counties, and they've never encountered any kinds of fraud.
A lot of this election security apparatus was done under President Trump's first term. They did a good job. This guy is not looking for a secure election, because if we have a free and fair election, he and his allies are going to get beat historically this fall.
Joining me now, Virginia Democratic Congressman James Walkinshaw. He serves on the House Oversight and Homeland Security Committees. Welcome back to the show, Congressman. It's good to have you here. So Mullin claims the DHS found more than 250,000 suspected non-citizens registered in 4 states. But the database that he wants to use for that, it is not a ledger of registered voters. It is used to determine if someone is eligible for benefits, and it was blocked by a federal judge who ruled it that it violated privacy rights. So we know incidents of non-citizens voting are extremely rare. Is Mullin citing faulty proof to support his threats to state officials?
Yeah, I think he's flat making it up. Look, you don't have to take it from me. Conservative organizations like the Heritage Foundation have said instances of non-citizens voting are, and these are their words, vanishingly rare. It is so rare that it's almost impossible to measure. It just doesn't happen. And this is part of the big lie from the 2020 election. 6 years later, Donald Trump is still whining about the fact that he lost the 2020 election. And he's clearly setting up to run that same playbook this year. He knows he's on track to lose, and he's going to try to contest the results in November.
Well, in his primetime address on Thursday, as you know, the president claimed that the country's election system is vulnerable to interference and fraud, citing alleged meddling by China in both the 2018 and 2020 elections. But the election documents that Trump declassified, they don't back up his allegations. And the strict voter ID bill that he is pressuring Congress to pass, it doesn't even address the issues that he's raised. So since Trump in his second term has dismantled agencies protecting elections, what was the point of this address?
You know, I watched the address. I couldn't figure it out. I guess the point, his goal was to continue to try to bully congressional Republicans into moving forward with the ridiculous SAVE Act. Look, we know that foreign adversaries, China, Russia, and others have tried to interfere with U.S. elections. We know in 2016 that they interfered and supported Donald Trump. We also know that they haven't been able to hack into any voting machines, change voting results. They interfere by spreading lies and misinformation, trying to pit Americans against each other. There's no question that they're trying to do that. And the agency that the Trump administration set up in his first term to stop that from happening, prevent that from happening, keep our elections safe from cyber interference, Donald Trump has gone about dismantling it, the cybersecurity agency.
So clearly there are deep concerns that Trump is laying the groundwork right now to meddle in the midterms and potentially delegitimize the results. But this week, MS Now reported more than 24 House Democrats gathered to strategize how they would respond if the president tries to interfere in November's vote. So what are Democrats doing to make sure this election is conducted fairly?
Well, we are talking and meeting every single day with outside organizations, civil society organizations, legal organizations, to ensure that everyone's right to vote is protected in November, and that the votes are counted fairly, and that the results are honored. So we're working around the clock in our respective districts in the Congress across the country to make sure we have a free and fair election, and that those results are honored, whatever they might be.
All right, let's pivot to what happened on Thursday after his Senate confirmation hearing to lead the Justice Department. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche met with Epstein survivors. This was after Republican Senator Thom Tillis made that meeting a condition for supporting his nomination. Blanche encouraged the woman to share any new evidence with the FBI. So the survivors called this meeting demoralizing, and they said Blanche appeared to treat it as a check-the-box exercise. What do you make of Blanche's last-minute decision to hold this meeting and telling survivors, hey, contact the FBI, after they've been doing that for, some up to 30 years?
I would ask every American, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, put yourself in the shoes of these survivors or try to. For months, they have been asking to meet with the Attorney General. First Pam Bondi, now Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. For months, those requests have been ignored. It's not till a powerful Republican senator demands that Todd Blanche meet with survivors that he decides to finally do it. That's insulting on its face. And then based on what we've heard from the survivors who were in that meeting, he basically ignored what they said. He's ignored their requests. They're asking for simple things. Release the files, unredact the illegally redacted files, and reopen the investigation based on what we have learned.
But Blanche told survivors he could not promise any additional prosecutions will be brought. And then he told reporters he'd like to give victims some form of justice, adding, quote, maybe we can do a prosecution at some point. I don't know. I mean, what do you make of his comments? Has your review of the files indicated that there are individuals who warrant prosecution?
My review of the files in the Oversight Committee's investigation, I believe, reveal that the Department of Justice should reopen the investigation and pursue, A, new allegations that have come to light based on our committee's investigation. There are new allegations that didn't exist before, and information in the files that should be pursued. We know that key figures, we have revealed in our investigation that key figures close to Epstein were never interviewed by the FBI. The FBI never interviewed Epstein's lawyer, Epstein's accountant, never interviewed Les Wexner, the financier of much of the sex trafficking. The investigation should be reopened. Those individuals should be questioned, and prosecution should be pursued where there's merit.
Congressman James Walkinshaw, thank you very much for the conversation. Much appreciated.